Gary Samuels, Newcastle United, no changes. Nick Pope in goal, Kieran Trippier, Fabian Schär, Sven Botman, Dan Burn, 3.5 years, a Brighton player before his move back home last January. Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton and Joe Willock, Miguel Almiron, Alexander Isak and top scorer Callum Wilson, with a bench of Martin Dubravka, Paul Dummett, Anthony Gordon, Alan San-Maxima, Jamal Lewis, Matt Targett, Javier Manquillo, Elliot Anderson and 17-year-old academy midfielder Lewis Miley. Newcastle are in a huddle. Kieran Trippier jogs back to join his teammates with a television camera up close, getting a view as Newcastle have some final words before they line up. Brighton are going to kick off and United will be shooting uphill in the first half. As we're watching it, that's from right to left towards the Leazes end. 2 wins from the final 3 games will see Newcastle qualify for the Champions League. The first of those is underway against Brighton and Hove Albion here on BBC Radio Newcastle and NUFC TV. Brighton playing it back and Newcastle winning it from a misplaced pass, and Willock runs out to the left wing, going down the line with Caicedo, cuts inside. Joe Linton, support from Byrne, doesn't need him, goes on a run, then he plays it back to the big man who checks, comes back inside, and it's Botman, and now Schär backpedaling, plays it forwards but out of play on the diagonal, and it's a throw in the right back position for Brighton. 35 seconds on the clock.
Oh, even in that opening 35 seconds you can see Brighton want to play, want to try and play out. They've given it away on this occasion, got away with it.
Caicedo back to Van Hecke, into the box to Steele. Almiron closing in and he sliced it off his left. It's come, fortunately for Brighton, to Estupiñán. Over halfway to Mitoma, beats Trippier to the ball, but then it's won back for United by Bruno, and here goes Almiron into the final third, over towards Isak, but too close to a player in Brighton red. And Caicedo, away he goes. Isak has conceded a free kick. Caicedo stopped.
Yeah, he was looking for the free kick, wasn't he?
And I think he got a bit lucky there, because Isak
there was a little bit of a pull, but he could have played on, there's no doubt about that.
He came around the other side, Isak, and then took the ball away. Van Hecke back to Steele. And they like to involve the goalkeeper. There he goes, pinging one out to Estupiñán on the far side, brought under control by the Ecuadorian international. And now Deniz Undav, edge of the area, shot blocked, didn't really travel very far. And then Almiron, good challenge on Mitoma. Just getting the ball back. There were a couple of Brighton players there. Almiron combines with a teammate, passes it back to Willock, who's in a deep position at the moment. They've gone into the penalty box to Botman. It's with Byrne. Bruno offers himself short, round the corner off the outside of the right boot to Joe Linton, down the line but off Van Hecke. Blonde head, 6'2" Dutch defender, and a throw taken. Isak has taken it and turned and goes on a run away from Buonanotte, and Van Hecke makes the sliding challenge. They get a throw. Joe Linton back to Byrne. He's away here, Dan Byrne. Edge of the area, still going. Buonanotte's got back to him. That's a physical mismatch. But he won the ball, played it forwards, and then Deniz Undav straight out of play. 0-0. 3 minutes on the clock. Schär's clearance from the throw is blocked. Newcastle have another one.
It's like jumpers in the playground, isn't it? In the moment, these early stages.
Joe Linton having his shirt pulled and being pulled himself by Van Hecke. Referee tried to let it go. Ball went back towards Bruno, but then he has whistled for a Newcastle free kick on the left, just past halfway.
Yeah, good refereeing actually, because he let the play go to see if an advantage was coming. There was no advantage. Brought it back for the free kick.
Kieran Trippier behind it. Every outfield player up ahead of him. Willock's hanging slightly back. It's looking towards Byrne in the box. And he had Caicedo with him. The ball is headed clear. Went down the near side, Trippier with the free kick. He's got it back again behind halfway, trying to get Isak in the corner. Burns made a run beyond and throwing himself into Caicedo, but he was offside anyway, so it's a free kick and it's Brighton's ball. And Newcastle look like they're going to stay up high and press. The free kick is outside the box, so Wilson stands in the penalty area watching the goalkeeper. It's on this near side, the right, in the 5th minute. Mitoma stretched the play. It's on the far touchline. Van Hecke's walked away and left it for Steele. Home fans think they're time wasting already. Referee waves to Jason Steele. Orders him to get on with it. Trippier then beats Mitoma in the air to the ball. Almiron, lovely takedown. It's come to Wilson and Joelinton just outside the box. Isak on the left, cuts inside, goes for the far side of the goal. And it's bent away. Thought it had taken a deflection, but it was the whip of Isak's shot that carried it wide of Steele's goal and behind.
He's hit it with the outside of his right boot, hasn't he? Which means it's always going to be travelling away from goal. Decent strike. Good power on it.
Referee is signalling that he's either stopped his watch or he's pointing that he will add the time on. Brighton goes short again, 0-0. Almiron closing down Van Hecke. Caicedo out of Joelinton. Looks as though Caicedo, Ando, is the one that started at right back yeah, rather than Grosser, and that's something that they've done. They've both played there, but they are central midfielders by trade. And Caicedo, such a highly regarded midfield player, out of position tonight. Well, Newcastle win it back.
Must, isn't it?
Isak to Bruno, back over to the left to Willock, low cross, it's come to Almiron, who takes a touch and hits a shot with his left down towards the near side of goal. It's looped up off a deflection and gone for a corner.
I'm not even too sure if that was on target, you know.
Willock was just trying to get it past the last defender to Wilson towards the far post, and it came back to Almiron on his stronger left foot.
Yeah.
7th minute, Kieran Trippier on the left side, whips in the corner kick, pushed away by Steele. Whistle's gone. No idea what the referee saw there, but quick to blow for a Brighton free kick.
Not too many complaints.
Willock's played the ball back, but he's actually kicked it out.
Yeah, and the crowd are booing. It's not Brighton's fault. Wouldn't give him the ball back.
No goals yet. Brighton have taken 2 blocks for their away section tonight at the top of the Leazes end. And they're playing it out short in the box at that end of St James's Park, and then after a couple of risky passes, the one forwards into the Newcastle half, nobody there in red, straight to Sven Botman. Here's Bruno onto Willock, shifts it inside, moving the ball nicely. Willock, he's started well. Isak gets away from Caicedo. Brings it inside to Willock, back through for Isak in the penalty area. Isak's cut back, it's blocked by 2 defenders and then cleared from the goal line. Burns got it in the middle. Bruno then brought down 30 yards out, central position, free kick. They look a little restless defensively, Brighton, perhaps shaky.
Well, they keep trying to play. It's not that they're looking restless and shaky. They want to play out from the back. They like to take chances. Seen it against Arsenal at the weekend, where they took chances and got away with it. If Arsenal had a pinch one of them, it could have been totally different. And you've just got to keep the pressure on. You've just got to keep squeezing them.
But it does invite trouble when you give it away, and then you're out of shape. Players are not where they would be. When it works, like you say, it's brilliant.
Yeah, but when it doesn't, you're in big trouble.
It has to work, doesn't it? Fabian Schär is behind this, and he's lining up a shot. Schär drives it straight at Steele. Powerfully struck, but the goalkeeper got into the right position and got his body behind it.
Yeah, comfortable save, decent hit. Straight down the throat to the goalkeeper though.
Back to Steele, and then played forwards, and Newcastle have it just outside the box again. Bruno to Almiron. Has to go out wide. Brighton have bodies back. Bruno's giving him support near the corner. Back through for Almiron. Cuts it back with his right. Willock stabbed wide of goal at the near side. But once again, the press and the squeeze forces Brighton into a misplaced pass and an error, but Newcastle unable to make them pay.
The keeper's just given it away. I mean, it wasn't the squeeze that did it. It was just a poor ball by the goalkeeper. Trying to play it through the lines, didn't work.
Well, they've started with another short pass, and it's gone to Gross at the edge of the penalty area. Out to the left by Brighton. Undav laying it off to Gilmour. Gross just got there to help it on. Then there's a foul on Fabian Schär by Deniz Undav.
Yeah, he hasn't started well, has he?
German forward, not a regular in the team. He's got 3 in his last 4 goals in his last 4 games, but probably wouldn't start if everybody was fully fit. And just at the right of the centre circle, Trippier behind the free kick, 0-0 in a crucial match. Into the box it goes. Steele comes and makes a very good catch over the top of players in black and white and in red. He now puts the ball on the floor and with his left moves it to Van Hecke. Caicedo on the right touchline. Forwards it goes. Pope has left his penalty area. Ball bounces up onto his right boot.
Oh, he wasn't taking any chances there, was he?
And it's ended up a couple of rows behind us, in with the fans in the hospitality section. So it's a throw for Brighton on the right wing. 0-0, unchanged Newcastle side. Only a win definitely keeps Newcastle in 3rd spot ahead of Monday. And they could stay there even if they don't win, but it would require Manchester United and Liverpool both dropping points on Saturday. Just do their job and they'll be there. It's forwards by Van Hecke, and it's a throw on the right. With a couple of players like Van Hecke, Ando, and like Buonanotte on this right side, as Pope with a clearance off his left rather slices it out to Joelinton on the wing. He's played it on to Byrne and then down the line towards Isak, and a back pass that Wilson tried to pinch but Steele clears. Offside against your man Deniz Undav.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't go as far as to say it's a makeshift Brighton team, but it's not their strongest 11.
No.
And there's a couple in there who could be experiencing something tonight that they're not particularly used to, like Van Hecke and Buonanotte, the defender in particular, with his lack of Premier League football. Bruno out to Trippier on the far side. Volleyed forwards. It's gone out though. Estepinian with a throw to take. For Brighton, who could still finish above Newcastle. But if Newcastle win tonight, that will not be possible. Estepinian tried a trick and loses it. And Almiron on the charge. And away into the corner on the right, into the box. Here's Willock, drags it back. Almiron went to bend it inside the far top corner and has missed the target.
Chance. Does well initially. Great little play by Willock, great little back heel. It's a long, long way off target, isn't it?
Another short goal kick rolled 5 yards from Dunk at the left to Steele, the goalkeeper. And Newcastle get a throw out of it 30 yards from goal after winning the ball back from Undav with a shoulder-to-shoulder challenge. BBC Radio Newcastle. On a big week of important matches. Got Gateshead at Wembley on Sunday in the FA Trophy final. Sunderland's playoff tie the other night Here Newcastle looking to move closer to the Champions League. They've started well, but it's 0-0, and Isak on the left from Byrne's pass into Bruno. He's got 3 around him, back to Byrne. Joelinton inside, on towards Bruno. Played back through by Bruno. He was rushed by the pressure and the presence of a Brighton player, and Steele has it.
Tell me why they're booing when he's got it in his hands.
Well, it's just part of the psychology of supporting the team, isn't it? Trying to get them to get a move on.
Oh, well, that's not going to happen, is it?
Maybe alert the referee, but I'm sure he's aware. Well, he already has interacted with Steele.
But once it's in his hands, it's not as if he's taking his time over a goal kick in that.
No.
The ball's in play, so he's got every right.
Van Hecke with a risky ball in towards Gilmour, and Gross tried to find Caicedo on this near side, but Isak's pressure means that it goes out for a throw. I think there's a lot of fans, Ando, inside the ground who are annoyed at the criticism of Newcastle over alleged time wasting and that sort of thing that we've talked about a lot on Total Sport on BBC Radio Newcastle every night of the week, so it could be in response to that. Willock getting it from Trippier and sending it down the right wing. Almiron chasing, Estupinian back into the goalkeeper, Steele, who's tried a trick on the line wide of his posts, and it got tangled up under his feet, but he just about got away with it. Then the pass back out to Estupinian has led to a Newcastle throw.
Yeah, you get the feeling that it's just a matter of time, don't you?
Cher gives it away, looking for Almiron into Gross behind the centre circle. Danny Welbeck taking a touch and then passing it to Mitoma on the left. Brighton counter-attack into the final third. Mitoma to Welbeck, shifts it, hits it. Pope catches.
Comfortable save. No power in it. He's tried to bend it, hasn't he? Didn't get any bend on it at all. Just straight into the midriff of the keeper. Not booing now.
Nick Pope puts the ball down, then kicks from the floor. Isak gets up and tries to head on away from Caicedo towards Wilson, but out of play it goes.
Yeah, I thought he got one in the ribs, Caicedo.
Caicedo to Gilmour, back to
foul
Caicedo, and
foul. I was going to say,
brought back by Robert Jones for a Newcastle throw in, left wing, about 30 yards from the goal, maybe a bit closer as Byrne edges along the touchline. Cher's tying his boot. So
he's stopping the game for that.
Referee's letting him do it. Byrne throws it to Joelinton, backing into Gross at the edge of the area. Bruno to Byrne, and Isak out wide on the ball. 0-0. Isak injects some speed into the move. He's carried it a long way square. It's pushed clear by Gross, who wants a free kick, doesn't get it, then hoisted forwards by Cher. Willock in the box, brings it inside. Push behind. Is it a corner? Yes. Eventually given by the referee. The assistant wasn't sure.
Referee wasn't sure either, was he?
Hopeful ball forwards, and Willock was in a gap between centre half and full-back, and Brighton recovered to push it behind just as he was
handball.
Just about to pull the trigger.
Handball, Willock.
Was it? Yeah. 18 minutes gone. Would be a good time to open the scoring. Trippier on the right. Floats it in. They've got Byrne and Cher there. It's both of them who go up. Van Hecke on the header, and it's on this near side. Trippier jogs across. Cher is down in the box and has stayed down, and the physio is walking along the touchline, but Kieran Trippier has helped Cher to his feet on his way to taking the next corner. And
blood.
Is that what it is? Has he got blood? Cher's, referee says he does need treatment, so there'll be a delay in taking the corner. Trippier having a chat with Sven Botman, and Fabian Cher coming back towards the halfway line. So 0-0, BBC Radio Newcastle. Fabian Schär's been given some tissue. It's
told him to take him off the pitch.
Is it a bloodied nose or is it his mouth?
Bloody nose, is it?
Temporarily with 10. The doctor is there, and he is now tending to Fabian Schär. Kieran Trippier with the corner. Got another player tying their bootlace. It's Bruno. He's back up on the edge of the area. And Trippier sends it in with pace towards the back post. Oh, Steele swung his arm at it. Did he not touch it? Must have missed it completely.
Must have missed it.
It's a bit of a
wicked ball.
Wild swing, but it's gone behind.
Yeah, it's a wicked ball, isn't it?
Isak having his shirt pulled in the middle.
No, I got nothing on it.
Fabian Schär back on. No change of jersey. And it's 11 v 11 again. Mitoma into Welbeck in midfield, tripped by Joelinton. And Wilson picks the ball up to delay Brighton taking the free kick. Lewis Dunk trying to find Mitoma. Trippier rises to head away the ball. Schär onto Wilson, nods it towards Isak, who's gone over. Sorry, to Willock. Was Willock. I thought they'd swapped after the corner. It's back to Steele. Still goalless. Van Hecke to Undav, challenged by Schär. They've obviously targeted him and get around him, go in hard, and they've won the ball back again. Bruno to Almiron. Joelinton crowded out, back to Steele. It's a shame because that looked a promising move. Chipped forwards by the goalkeeper. Buonanotte on Welbeck. Can't beat Botman to the ball, and he's played it inside. It's a useful pass to Bruno. On to Byrne. Joelinton. Isak available. Joelinton's going to throw. Van Hecke made the challenge.
Good defending. Strong as well.
Almiron to Isak, played off Van Hecke, and Isak has the ball, takes the throw. It's back to Botman in front of the halfway line. We've not seen Brighton at all as an attacking threat, have we, John Anderson?
No, they haven't had much of the ball, have they? They keep trying to play out from the back, and with the high squeeze that we're putting on.
Schär back to the goalkeeper and up to Wilson. Estupinian from close to the centre circle. Starts again with the goalkeeper. Won 3 of their last 4, Brighton, but they're under pressure again. It's Wilson to Joelinton in the box.
What a tackle that is.
Lewis Dunk makes it go behind for a corner with a brilliant piece of defending.
Yeah, they're going to get caught. I mean, giving it away in that area. Dunk does great, doesn't he? Showed all his experience. Good block.
It's just the final finish, really, from Newcastle. That's all that's missing. Steele's not really had much to do, but here's the latest corner. It's in!
Oh, gee.
Own goal! Kieran Trippier fired over the corner, kick towards the near post, and it looked as though it took a touch off a Brighton defender and flew across Jason Steele and inside the far corner of the net. And in a match they need to win, they have the lead. It's Newcastle United 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. Trippier getting all the congratulations. It was his corner that led to that own goal off Dennis Undav.
Well, that's in keeping with it. He hasn't started the game well. Undav, it's got to be doing better. Got to be doing better at that near post. It's a real poor header.
Now Newcastle's slow to get back into their half of the pitch.
How quick will we be now?
Referee telling them to get into position, and it's brought the atmosphere back to the pre-kickoff level. Brighton about to kick off for the second time. 1-0, an own goal. Doesn't matter who puts them in as long as they go in for Newcastle. And Brighton have to respond and come back and attack for what will really be the first time in the game in a meaningful way. Wilson laying it off. Joelinton's through ball couldn't find Almiron. Undav to Welbeck, behind halfway. Caicedo now for Buonanotte on the right. Goes past a couple of challenges, wins a free kick. He was caught by one of them. And now Gilmour pushing Wilson. Referee intervenes, tells Wilson to stop and Gilmour to get away. Joelinton goes after Caicedo in an angry fashion.
Joelinton goes after everybody in an angry fashion.
Did you have a problem with that?
No, I never said I had a problem with it.
1-0. That's good. And 64 goals for the season, which takes them past their tally from the last time they qualified for the Champions League in 2002, 2003. They also got 63, but now 64 with that own goal from Undav. Buonanotte,
Keeper
floating it into the box, and Pope comes out to the right to catch. Walks back into the middle, ball in hand. And here on BBC Radio Newcastle, Newcastle United have the advantage, and it's good the goal eventually arrived, John Anderson, but you said it was going to be a matter of time only.
Look, you sat here watching it, you see the way that Brighton are playing, and you always felt it was always going to be a matter of time. Okay, it's an OG, but it was still going to be a matter of time.
Caicedo caught from behind by Isak after he'd played the ball. Wilson getting involved in argy-bargy with Van Hecke this time. Back it goes to Steele. Clipped right-footed out to Estepinian. Stopped by Almiron, and he's kept the ball in play. Paraguay against Ecuador there. Dunk, not the best touch, takes him wide and almost into the corner, but he is able to play a pass into the box to Steele. Van Hecke, Newcastle put the pressure on Brighton. Caicedo into Gross, and it's into the United half. Botman hooks it clear, and it's out of play. Caicedo takes the throw, gets it back, and Van Hecke down the side of the penalty area starts to carry it away. He's played it off Isak, and Wilson's got it, and that's a Newcastle throw out off Van Hecke. 1-0 up. Burn to Botman. Like Isak, nominated for Premier League Young Player of the Year. Pope from a back pass, high ball into the Brighton half. Joelinton has got around Dunk, and Wilson helped it on, but it was into the spot that Willock had vacated, not into the area he was running into. Cher intercepts now a Brighton forward ball, but gives it back to the visitors, and Albion have it through Scottish international Billy Gilmour. Estepinian up to Undav, Gilmour on, but Trippier covering. The Player of the Year nominee back to Pope. Big kick from the keeper, might beat Almiron. It does. It's out for a throw just behind halfway. Estepinian taking it from a bit further back. Newcastle have pushed up towards the halfway line. Joelinton intercepts. Almiron can't keep it in on the stretch. They lead 1-0, an own goal from Brighton's Dennis Undav. Eddie Howe standing next to Jason Tindall, nice and calm. Roberto De Zerbi, Brighton's boss, jumping up and down a few moments ago, all in black. De Zerbi, very casually dressed. Free kick for Newcastle. It was Graham Potter who was in charge when they met for the 0-0 draw in August, as Dunk, covering, makes an interception and then clears on the far side. De Zerbi appointed in September, and like Eddie Howe, nominated for Manager of the Year. Buonanotte trying to take it around Byrne, who makes a challenge, and out of play it goes. In the Newcastle half, Caicedo to Gross. He's got 9 goals this season, Pascal Gross, from midfield or fullback. Gilmour back to Steele. 29th minute. He leaves his penalty area. Gets it over towards Estepinian, who's hooked it and kept it in, but only for Almiron, who's getting away into the area. Almiron, it's a great run, and he's stopped by a challenge. The shot is blocked, but that's got to be a penalty, has it? A foul on Wilson, surely, as he took the ball away out wide, and the referee's had a good look and is saying at the moment no. Almiron thought he might have had a sniff of a penalty as he charged into the box and tackles came in, but he was blocked by a fair challenge from a defender, and then Wilson got across onto Dunk's touch, took it away. Is that a foul, or did he go down without contact? VAR is checking.
It's a penalty.
Jared Gillett is the video assistant referee, assisted by Adam Nunn, having a look. Robert Jones on the pitch puts his hand to his ear and he says no penalty. Brighton play on with a throw. Wow.
No penalty, no foul.
Very quick VAR check. We've been treated this week as Brighton get a free kick on halfway to the audio recordings, as there's a yellow card is shown to Bruno for that challenge, and he says it was his first one, pleads with the referee, but he goes into the book. Could have had a penalty, and they've now got to play a yellow carded. Cut across Mitoma, brought him down. I was saying we were given the recordings of some of the VAR decisions. For some they've got right, and a few non-controversial ones that they got wrong, including the Joe Linton offside goal at West Ham that was then given after a check, and the penalty in the Arsenal match. It was interesting to hear the process. Some take a while. That one was very quick. Van Hecke back to Steele from the free kick. Gilmour to Van Hecke, right corner of the Brighton box. Newcastle 1-0 up. Caicedo, Bruno's won it back, but Brighton clear. Byrne with a header to Isak, collects it with a man at his back, wins a throw. He's taken a knock, Isak, but he's all right. Byrne to Bruno, can't find Isak with a first-time pass, and it's Brighton's ball. Gilmour back to Caicedo, to Van Hecke, closed down by Wilson. Gives it to his goalkeeper, Gilmour to Van Hecke. Now they're looking more comfortable on the ball now they're 1-0 down. Buonanotte, curse of the commentator, gives it away. Bruno then wins a block challenge, but passes it straight to Gilmour. Welbeck, stopped by Joe Linton. Good strong play. Willock to Isak. Got two around him, lovely feet. Superb from Isak to find space and play the ball back to Botman. They're now on the far right-hand side. Trippier. Almiron's given his man the slip, and he's away. Almiron up to the edge of the area. He's got plenty of options. It's Cher who rolls it across, and it stayed in along the goal line. Isak on the near side keeps it alive into the penalty area, then back out wide to Byrne. Bruno, corner of the box, gets away from Buonanotte to Almiron, back to Bruno. Down he goes, play on, says the referee, and tells Bruno to get up. Brighton clear, Trippier's got it on halfway. Very close to number 2, and it was Fabian Cherando who went on the outside, the overlap, and rolled the ball.
Yeah, it's great ball rolled across, wasn't it? Just needed a touch, nobody there.
Trippier, diagonal ball, Joe Linton's in, tries to bring it down, left side of the area. Joe Linton wins a corner. Van Hecke, the defender, making the challenge. What a ball by Trippier. It's normally Cher who plays those passes, but it was Cher who was involved in that attack that almost led to a second goal a few moments.
Yeah, it's a great ball rolled across goal, isn't it? Just needed somebody coming in back post, and they're rolling it into an empty net.
Newcastle 1-0 up in the 34th minute. Trippier. Almiron, edge of the area. He's gone towards the middle of the 6-yard box. It's headed away. Then another Newcastle header from Botman to put it back into the middle. Byrne on his chest, brings it down Byrne! Went for the near side and was very close, and a deflection has taken it behind for another corner.
Interesting to see whether this does take a deflection or not. I mean, they're protesting. Not sure about that.
Corner.
Just kept the pressure on. There's no deflection on that.
Corner is the
score here. Can they go back?
They've already scored from one corner. An own goal. Trippier fires it round the back. Share, and Steele has it in his hands, low down by the post, and kicks it quickly towards Mitoma, left wing. It's a throw close to halfway. He apologises, Jason Steele, Newton Aycliffe-born goalkeeper. Newcastle's ball again. And they'll be happy, Ando, won't they, that they haven't allowed Brighton to offer very much, and they've kept most of the game in the Brighton half, haven't they? And probably in the Brighton.
Yeah, I mean, Brighton have seen very, very little of the ball. I mean, they're trying to play out from the back. They're sticking to their principles. But you just feel if they keep doing it, they're going to get caught again.
Burn, it's behind Isak, and it's gone for a throw in Brighton's half. Caicedo picks it up. Van Hecke back to the goalkeeper. The ball from Steele to Dunk and Van Hecke, and Dunk ahead of the penalty area, finding Caicedo, who shifts it down the line to Buonanotte. Gross. It's nice football by Brighton. Welbeck tripped by Willock. He flicked it through his feet and gets a free kick on the right wing, but nearer to halfway than the Newcastle box. 1-0 up. An own goal is the difference. It's not going to be taken from the correct spot, and Robert Jones, the referee, is telling Brighton and wondering why they're complaining at the whistle, because it was clearly in the wrong position.
Well, it must have been if the referee wasn't happy with it.
Absolutely. Into midfield. Brighton play it, Cher and Almiron, but it was Cher's challenge that led Almiron to win the ball, and it was a foul by Fabian Cher through the back of a Brighton player. On the subject of fouls, Ando, the two Premier League players before this match kicked off that have committed the most fouls this season are on the pitch. There's one in each team. Have a think. Here are Brighton through Gross. This could be dangerous for Newcastle. Buonanotte level with the edge of the area on the near right side. Caicedo into the middle. Could have been pinched by Almiron. Dunk's got it instead. Estupinian. Mitoma, first chance to run for him into the box. Right-footed curler, too high.
Joe Linton.
Yes, of course. But he
stands out like a sore thumb.
But he is second in the list. So the player with the most fouls committed in the Premier League this season is in the Brighton team.
Caicedo.
Correct. You know what you're watching, don't you? It's only one in it, 58 against 57. It's 1-0 Newcastle, 38th minute. Joelinton challenged by Van Hecke. Oh, and a misplaced pass in behind. Wilson's got there. Caicedo has committed another foul. He's increased his tally. He's tripped Wilson out towards the corner on the near side from a ball that was fired back. Totally not where it was intended to go from midfield.
Buonanotte it was who played it back, and he's just
alive to it, wins a free kick.
It was just a bad ball, wasn't it? They just played themselves into so much trouble, Brighton. You know, look at it's their principles, it's what they believe in, and fair play to them, fair dues to them. They keep doing it, but they keep causing themselves an awful lot of bother.
Well, they took the lead through an own goal from a corner on this side of the pitch. This one is closer to the box than a corner. It's probably level with the penalty spot. Trippier is going to be Newcastle's man to take it. The referee is separating players in the middle of the penalty area.
Yeah, good luck with that.
And there's only Joe Willock and Nick Pope who aren't in the box, and Trippier who's going to take the free kick. Almiron and Bruno just hanging back on the 18-yard line. 1-0 Newcastle. Looking to go 2-0 up. Mitoma, the only Brighton player in a wall. Trippier's free kick, and it's headed away in front of the keeper, but Robert Jones has blown for a Brighton free kick as players hit the deck in the middle of the box.
Yeah, I mean, Cher
Well, hang on, but Isak was knocked over by Van Hecker.
But yeah, thanks to Cher, though.
Was it Cher?
Yeah, Cher's just pushed him straight into him, a bit like the...
given away by the keeper, and then back to him. Joelinton got his boot to the ball when it was played short towards the 18-yard line. Almiron was sniffing around as well, but Jason Steele got so lucky that the touch from Joelinton went back to him because Almiron had just tucked inside.
Oh.
If Almiron hadn't moved, he would have had a tap in.
You just wonder how long they're going to keep getting lucky.
This is anxiety-inducing stuff from Brighton at the back. Botman up to Joelinton, who controlled but then slipped. Van Hecker, hopefully that won't prove costly. 5 minutes to half-time, leading 1-0. Buonanotte back to Dunk. This is BBC Radio Newcastle. If you'd like to have a message read out at half-time, WhatsApp 08000 321 333, put BBC at the start. Van Hecker into Newcastle's half. Welbeck dropped off, tried to flick it straight to a black and white shirt. Bruno to Wilson. Willock through for Isak to run onto, but the goalkeeper's out of his box and read the situation, and then his clearance goes out next to the Newcastle bench. There was another option in that move, but they went towards Isak. Good goalkeeping by Jason Steele. Byrne throws it inside to Bruno, who's given it away. Then he's been fouled. Pull on the shirt, as indicated by the referee. And Trippier.
Another one before half-time would be nice.
And he comes across to the ball with Cher and Botman and Byrne going up there. Plenty of height. Brighton have got 6'4" Dunk and 6'2" Van Hecker to try to deal with it. They look to the near side for Byrne again, and behind it goes for a goal kick.
It's too straight.
An awkward one for him.
Yeah, it's too straight a ball.
Dunk behind the goal kick. Short inside to Steele, and then swings it away onto the left boot of Byrne, blocked by Caicedo. Botman's challenge. Undav out to Buonanotte, just into the penalty area, shifting it onto his left into a shooting position, but then plays the pass over to Estepinian. Brighton with it on the left wing. Some home fans unhappy about something. Then it goes out for a throw, which goes the way of Brighton, high up on the left, and then they go back towards halfway. Gilmour to Van Hecker, right in front of the centre spot. Wilson rushes him, closes him down. Buonanotte takes it back with his first touch. Signed in January from the Argentinian league, Buonanotte, 5 million, wearing number 40. Foul by Joelinton in midfield. He might be ahead of Caicedo now in the stakes for most fouls this season. Leading 1-0, Dennis Undav with an own goal from Kieran Trippier's corner. Van Hecker to Dunk and back again. 2 minutes until we get the numbers board at the end of the first half. Gross, left-footed, floating it over to Mitoma. Trippier gets up to nod away. Almiron chasing. Estepinian back to Dunk. Newcastle with only Wilson ahead of the ball. Brighton, good spell of possession. Buonanotte in the area, lovely takedown on the chest, but he is offside.
Shouldn't be. Looking straight across the line. Mile offside as well. There's nothing close to it.
officiated by Ian Husson, the assistant on the near side. And Pope, who, along with Trippier and Byrne, the only Newcastle men to have featured in all 36 Premier League matches this season. Trippier, Pope and Byrne. And the goalkeeper takes the free kick. It's gone out on the near side. And it's a Brighton throw, middle of their half. Caicedo. Back to Van Hecke. Not the easiest ball for him. He's controlled it, played it to Caicedo, into the box. Diagonal ball. Almiron's going to win it back from Dunk's pass. And now Willock just can't get on the end of the through ball from Almiron. There was too much behind it. And Steele is there.
Yet again, Brighton give it away. Dunk, not enough on the pass. Almiron picks it up. Just overhit it.
Estepinian. It's a messy first touch. Almiron's won it back and then taking it away from Mitoma. And back to goalkeeper Pope, who sliced his kick. Trippier beaten in the air. Cher goes to challenge Undav, who's won the knockdown, and Mitoma might be in, but Sven Botman gets across to scoop the ball away, and Trippier clears. Van Hecke onto it in front of halfway. Brighton are going to come again, but Newcastle almost let them in. Then Almiron with a nutmeg on Estepinian, blocks him off.
Undav yet again. They play it forward. It doesn't stick. He just gives it away. He's had a horror 45 minutes, the boy.
He is German, Dennis Undav. 6 goals this season, but scorer of an own goal tonight, and that is the difference between the teams. 2 minutes is the minimum additional period, and we are into that now. Pope with Newcastle's free kick. Joelinton's taken a knock as they looked for him on the diagonal. Willock with the ball. They're playing on in this attack, Newcastle. Willock still going. He's been tripped near to the corner of the Brighton penalty area, and a yellow card is shown.
Undav.
To Dennis Undav, who I would not be surprised to see replaced at half-time.
No.
Chopped down Joe Willock. Joelinton took a proper whack there. He's going to get up. The doctor and the physio went along the touchline, but they're not required. And they could get what may be, potentially, a killer second goal before the half-time whistle. Trippier walks across to the free kick. They might have a chance to take it, and then maybe one knockdown, as we are in the additional period, and Newcastle lead 1-0 here on BBC Radio Newcastle. Almiron's just inside. If he rolls it, Brighton 2-man wall is moved back, and the vanishing spray hits the playing surface. Now the referee goes into the middle. He is right in amongst players. Isak and Joelinton are the two he's talking to. A lot of communication with the players tonight from Robert Jones. It's usually considered to be a good thing from referees. He takes up a position on the edge of the D next to Joe Willock as Kieran Trippier, right corner of the area, just about with the free kick. Brighton player goes down, holding their face. Yellow card comes out. Billy Gilmore is on the floor, and is that Joelinton yellow carded?
You know what it is? I haven't got a clue who he's...
No, it's Fabian Cher. They're both pushing at each other, and Gilmore, did he get one round the neck or the face? It's gone down. He's having a push at Cher.
So he's booked him. Has he given the free kick then?
No, well, because the ball's not in play, so I don't think he can. And the referee's having to calm things down. Cher has caught him. I think he's caught him on the chin, hasn't he? He's pushing it. I mean, they're both pushing each other. Maybe the difference in height is the reason why Cher.
The only difference was Gilmore was pushing him about the belly button.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't take much to wind up Fabian Cher, and he's next to Gilmore now. He's been yellow carded, but it's still a Newcastle free kick. Well, the best way to get over that is to score a second goal, Fabian Cher. Trippier's free kick, it's a good one, it is in! It's a second goal! And it's Dan Burn against his old club. Burn knows all about scoring big goals at St James's Park. He's got what could be a crucial one, and one that nudges them closer to the Champions League. Trippier just lifted it in round the back, and there was Burn with a header to nod it back across goal and in. And it's Newcastle United 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 0.
Well, you always felt it was coming. It's great delivery. Just goes straight back across the goalkeeper. Just pulls away. Delivery's great. Keeper no chance. Bottom corner.
That is the sort of goal we have been willing Dan Burn to score. His goal against Leicester was off the right foot. He's banging his hand off his head.
He should have at least half a dozen of them this season.
He's slapping his hand off his forehead and laughing as he runs back into position, acknowledging the fact that he's missed a few for his height, and he lets out a huge roar with clenched fists as he turns towards the Milburn stand and heads off down the tunnel as the half-time whistle goes from Robert Jones. The perfect time to get number 2. The first was an own goal from Brighton's Dennis Undav. The second was a Dan Burn header, both laid on by Kieran Trippier, set-piece delivery, and they are firmly in the driving seat now, John Anderson, in this match.
Yeah, difficult to see Brighton getting back into it. We've seen very, very little of Brighton. I mean, some of the football that Brighton play is absolutely suicidal, trying to play out from the back all the time, and you always felt watching it that it was only going to be a matter of time. First goal came from an OG, Undav, who's had an absolute mare. He gives the free kick away for the second goal, picks up a yellow card. Dunk has a right go at him, rightly so. You'd be surprised if he reappears for the second half, because he's been influential in both our goals, you know. So look, I've seen very little of Brighton as an attacking threat. Just putting the press on them all the time. They're trying to play through the lines, and they just keep giving it away. And as I say, 2-0 is probably a fair reflection of the way the first half went. And shooting downhill in the second half, 2-0 up. Brighton with their approach, which they're probably not likely to change, because they tend not to. You could feel that they could go and really put this to bed, and that would be perfect, and then it will be over to you, Liverpool, Manchester United, and Newcastle just, emphasising their authority in this Champions League race. Yeah, look, you just feel that Brighton keep playing the way that they're playing. We're going to get chance after chance in this second half. It's some of the football is suicidal. It's what they believe in. It's the way that they want to play. But when it doesn't work, you cause yourself all sorts of problems. So you wouldn't be surprised if there was more goals in the second half.
We'll bring you that second half here on BBC Radio Newcastle and NUFC TV. But a first 45 that's seen Newcastle on top and scoring twice. An own goal and then a header from the big man, Dan Burn, to make it 2 just before the break. Newcastle United 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 0.
It's a big day for Sting today.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
He made a fellow of the Ivor Novello Songwriting Academy.
There's 22 people in it at the moment, and it's been going since 1944, so it's very rare.
But nothing will ever beat that first time you hear it yourself on the radio. I was in my kitchen on top of the ladders painting the ceiling with some white emulsion, and I had Radio 1 on, and I suddenly recognised the song. It's Roxanne, and I literally fell off the ladder.
At what point did you think the most interesting, exciting part of that story?
Top of the ladders, painting the ceiling with some white emulsion.
I was painting it with white emulsion.
He's trying to make you think he's just normal. I want to know if he uses any other colour emulsion.
Does he do his own gloss work? That's what I want to know, because gloss work, I hate doing the gloss work.
The sound of the North East at breakfast. BBC Radio Newcastle, making a difference in the North East.
And this is Simon Pride at St James's Park, where Newcastle United lead Brighton and Hove Albion by 2-0 at half-time. A Dennis Undav own goal following a corner from Kieran Trippier was followed by a goal in first half injury time by Dan Burn against his former club. The presentations are just going on the pitch. Amanda Staveley is involved in those. The sprinklers are on, the ground staff are going about their business, and the Newcastle subs are warming up as well as the Newcastle United women's team come out onto the pitch. The Newcastle men's subs are applauding them, as are the crowd, as well as they come out and display the trophy that they won. They won their division, the 4th tier of English women's football, and will be promoted, or have been promoted, and next season will play at a higher level, and they are getting a good reception as they walk out onto the pitch, as I say, with the trophy that they won. And we had Becky Langley, the manager and one of the players, in the Total Sports studio just last week, and a great achievement for them, and they are now taking the adulation of the crowd as they go into the centre circle with their trophy. Now then, if you want to send us a message, you can do, and I'll try and read it out before the end of half-time. 08000 321 333 with your thoughts on how you feel things are going. And I have to mention this one from Stephen, who's in Wardley. He did send it an hour ago. He sent it before the match began. We didn't get a chance to read it out then, but he says, I fancy a Dan Burn goal tonight against his former team. He probably got a decent price as well, because he didn't score that many, but he has scored tonight, Stephen, so congratulations on your correct prediction. If you want to send us a text message, 81333, again, start your message with the letters BBC, and we'll also take some calls as well after the final whistle has blown this evening. 0800 234 6565 is the number to call Ando when the match is finished. And Scott the Geordie's just messaged as well on WhatsApp. He says, evening lads, game's going great so far. It's nice to have our destiny in our own hands, not relying on other teams' results. Great commentary as always, says Scott. Thank you very much indeed for your kind words, Scott. Let me tell you what's happening elsewhere. In the Europa League semi-finals, well, these are 8 o'clock kickoffs, and no goals in either of the games. Bayer Leverkusen, I should say, against Roma, so Roma leading 1-0 on aggregate, and it's Sevilla 0, Juventus 0. That one's 1-1 on aggregate, so Sevilla, multiple winners of that particular competition, in action against Juventus, and nothing between them as things stand. West Ham United are in the Europa Conference League. They've taken a 2-1 lead to AZ Alkmaar in the Netherlands, and it's currently 0-0 still in the first half there as well. And it's FC Basel 0, Fiorentina 0, so the Swiss side Basel leading by 2-1 on aggregate. In the League One playoffs, well, Sheffield Wednesday trailed Peterborough going into their second leg at Hillsborough by 4-0. They had it all to do. They started well though, and midway through the first half they do lead by 1-0. So that's how things are looking elsewhere. Let me just bring you a few other stories that are making the sports news this evening as well. And Brentford's former Newcastle United striker Ivan Toney has been given an 8-month ban from football after he accepted that he broke Football Association betting rules. After 232 rule breaches, Toney has also been fined £50,000 and warned about his future conduct. The FA has asked FIFA to extend that ban worldwide, not just in this country. Well, Toney's suspension starts immediately. He can now return to training 4 months before it ends. With a few more details, here's Phil Parry.
With the bats, we'll soon find out. Right, Harold, I think you should go first. You're our visitors.
We can't bring you that right now. We will try and do that a little bit later on if we can. Meanwhile, let's just reflect a little bit on last night's achievement by treble-chasing Manchester City, who reached the Champions League final in style with a 4-0 victory over the holders Real Madrid. City won 5-1 on aggregate and will face Inter Milan in Istanbul next month, so we will try and bring you some of the reaction from Pep Guardiola as well a little bit later in this half-time period. At the moment we're having a few problems just playing you the audio, but we're trying to rectify that. Meanwhile, let me just remind you of the numbers which you need to get in touch. 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp, and you can text 81333 in either case, starting your message with the letters BBC, as Darren Eales just walks past, who was a guest in our studio just a few weeks ago, wasn't he? A few months ago now it was, the Newcastle chief executive. As he walks off from his on-pitch half-time duties, he was one of those greeting the Newcastle United women's team as they came on to show off their trophy. Now we can bring you a little bit of Pep Guardiola, who was speaking after his side's 5-1 victory over Real Madrid. So they'll face Inter Milan in Istanbul in the Champions League final next month. Of course, they also face Manchester United in the FA Cup final next month and are a win away as well from claiming their third successive Premier League title. And talk of a treble, well, it's intensifying, isn't it?
We have got a little syndicate going on.
Of course, we are there. So now the players can think about it, can visualize it. So it's normal. We are 3 games away. One each of the competition, we can do it. But for me, it's more important after many years, 3 years in a row. So especially after first back-to-back doing that, there are a lot of work behind the scenes to achieve what we are achieving.
So that was Pep Guardiola then talking about his side's fine result last night. A dominant performance against Real Madrid. They are in the Champions League final. Now then, on Sunday afternoon, BBC Radio Newcastle will be at Wembley, where Gateshead will be taking on Halifax Town with the FA Trophy at stake. I have been looking ahead to that match with Mike Williamson, the former Newcastle defender, who is now, of course, Gateshead's boss, and he told me this game is amongst the highlights of his long career in football.
Yeah, up there, of course. It's a real privilege to manage the team since I've come in. You know, I've been lucky to have had the experiences that we've had, and yeah, it's right up there. So looking forward to getting down there.
I suppose your priority through the season was, of course, to make sure you stayed in the division. You did that in some style in the end, and in a way, this feels like a bit of a bonus. But what a bonus it could be if you actually lift that trophy.
Yeah. I think first and foremost it was staying in the league, and it's been a phenomenal season for us, just with the amount of obstacles we've had to get over on and off the field, but one with a lot of lessons and opportunities for us to grow as a club. And yeah, like I say, hopefully it'll be a nice end to it.
That's a diplomatic way of putting it, saying obstacles, because you've been through some rubbish, haven't you?
Well, as a club, yeah, obviously coming in from the previous regime, it's been a lot to build, obviously the reputation and off and on the field with other clubs and things like that. But say the work off the field has been incredible from the guys, and in the community as well is a big area that we focused on. And now, yeah, the boys are getting the rewards on the field.
And the fans have been through a lot as well, of course, and they've stuck through at this club despite all the things that have happened.
Yeah, you know, we've got a strong core, travel a lot of miles, especially this season, and support us through thick and thin. Yeah, they've had to endure periods this season. It's been tough for them, but they've kept the faith, and yeah, like I say, the occasions for them, the enjoyment of the build-up is for them. For us, it's about the process and about preparations. But I'm sure after the game, after the final whistle, we'll be able to take a breath and then take it all in.
Mike Williamson, the Gateshead manager. You'll hear more from him on tomorrow night's Total Sport, and on Sunday ahead of kick-off we will have all the action on Sunday afternoon. The FA Trophy final, Gateshead against Halifax, and tomorrow night's show actually is coming from a pub in the middle of Gateshead as we build up to Sunday as well, and of course reflect on tonight's game here at St James's Park, where Newcastle lead Brighton by 2-0. The second half coming up soon. The subs still going through their warm-ups on the pitch in front of me. So let's bring you some cricket, and Durham have been batting first on day one of their county championship match with Gloucestershire in Bristol. Watching was BBC Radio Newcastle's cricket commentator Martin Emerson.
While Alex Lee, Scott Borthwick and David Beddingham all got to at least 40 on a good batting track, nobody looked like they were going to cash in. Then later in the afternoon, Graham Clark was joined in the middle by Baz Deleda, and they put on a good score of 124. Deleda made 65, a career best, while Clark hit 13 fours and a 6 as he reached his first county championship century since 2017. He eventually fell on 100, LBW to spinner Zafagoa, who took 4 for 104. Durham closed the day on 393 for 9.
And ball-by-ball commentary of that match will continue tomorrow when they resume at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. You'll be able to hear it via the BBC Cricket website, and the BBC Sport app as well is another place to find it. And of course we'll have updates on Total Sport tomorrow evening, as well as we look back on the match tonight and preview Gateshead's final on Sunday, bringing the latest from Sunderland too. Of course, looking forward to that show tomorrow evening. But the second half is due to get underway very shortly here at St James's Park. John Anderson and Matthew Raisbeck will be with you in just a moment's time to take you through that second half. And don't forget, you'll be able to have your say afterwards as well by giving us a call on 0800 234 6565, because we're on air until 10 o'clock tonight. But the second half is coming right up.
Half-time highlights.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Here's the latest corner. It's in!
Oh, gee.
Own goal! Kieran Trippier fired over the corner, kick towards the near post, and it looked as though it took a touch off a Brighton defender and flew across Jason Steele and inside the far corner of the net. And in a match they need to win, they have the lead. It's Newcastle United 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. Trippier's free kick, it's a good one, it is in! It's a second goal! And it's Dan Burn against his old club. Trippier just lifted it in round the back, and there was Burn with a header to nod it back across goal and in. And it's Newcastle United 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 0.
Matthew Raisbeck and black and white legend John Anderson.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
2-0 the score. Dan Burn with the second after the own goal. His header not quite as dramatic as the one he slotted into the bottom corner against Leicester in the League Cup quarter-final, but of huge importance to them. Brighton had shown a couple of signs that maybe they could play a part in the game before that, but a couple of attacks been quite limited from the away team, who are out first for the second half. Newcastle returning now. Fabian Schär was rubbing his hamstring at half-time, but has come out for the second 45. It's Pope in goal, Trippier, Schär, Botman, Burn, Bruno, Willock, Joe Linton last out, Almiron, Isak and Wilson. Brighton, same 11. Steele in goal, Caicedo, Van Hecke, Dunk and Estupinian. Gross and Gilmour in the middle of midfield. Buonanotte, Undav, who has come out to start the second half, and Mitoma behind Welbeck. 2-0 up on BBC Radio Newcastle. It's looking good, but they have to finish the job tonight to then take it to Monday against struggling Leicester, when they can seal the deal in terms of the top four. Black and white stripes against the bright red of Brighton, the Seagulls, and Newcastle kicking down the hill to the right as we look at the pitch towards the Gallagher end. Gilmour in possession, back to Van Hecke. Gross to Welbeck, who's gone out wide right. They're still in their own half, Brighton, but they've had the ball for a good 30 seconds and given it away to Bruno. Isak played in, Wilson in the middle, Willock there too. And Isak, I think, went for goal. It's blocked by the heels of a defender. Intelligent header on by Schär. Joe Linton to Bruno, pushes it over to Almiron. Trippier on the outside, but Pervis Estupinian made a good challenge, and it's a throw. They're near the corner on this right-hand side. Trippier, got Almiron running around. Willock makes a dart. Bruno comes for it, looks for Almiron in the box. It might come for a black and white shirt. Well dealt with by Brighton. Then Bruno blocks the clearance once and then twice. Almiron has it back, challenged by Estupinian. and Karo Mitoma, the Japanese international, back to Billy Gilmore. May have been caught. Referee says play on. Lewis Dunk has got it. Purvis Estupiñán, that's a good turn. And a pass up to Danny Welbeck in a deep position, the centre forward. Looks like Undav might be playing up top with Welbeck in behind. Possible tweak, although maybe they're just going to switch it regularly in the game. Joelinton gets in with a challenge on the far side, near halfway to push the ball away. Van Heck nearly gave it back to Newcastle. Turns and plays it to the goalkeeper. Dunk on, and they've beaten the press and got it into midfield, and are trying to come away, Brighton, down the Newcastle near side. Mitoma, left wing. Back to Estupiñán. Almiron is there and makes him play it. It goes inside to Gilmore. Caicedo out wide behind Buonanotte. And it's a throw.
It's just sloppy. First real little bit of possession that they've had. It's just a simple ball. Caicedo has to play, and he just knocked it straight out of play.
Dan Burn to take it. Brighton coaching staff having a group discussion. Roberto De Zerbi is wound up about something. Newcastle have the ball in midfield. Joelinton over to Trippier. Nice take on the chest. They're getting Almiron in behind with the ball, and what a ball it is! And Almiron into the box, but Estupiñán recovered. It's good defending. And Mitoma, tidy ball to Gilmore, back to him from Gross. Share with a challenge on Undav. Might have been a foul, but referee says play on because Brighton are in possession. Pascal Gross straight to Sven Botman, and Bruno Guimaraes crosses the halfway line, playing it through for Wilson into the area, but he gave Dunk the chance with his second touch to steal it back, and the flag had stayed down despite appeals from visiting players. And we play on with Brighton coming forwards from the back. 2-0 Newcastle, 4 minutes gone in the second half. A ball to try and stretch the defence. Undav chasing, but Pope comes to the side of the area, gets down low to pick it up. Cher, Isak through the middle. A ball out wide that's been headed by Caicedo, and he's lost it to Willock and then challenged, but Byrne takes over, goes into the box. Buonanotte with him. Byrne right next to the corner flag, clips in the cross. Willock's header. Almiron, what a save! What a save! And Wilson heads the rebound onto the roof of the net. Almiron had to make it 3-0, but he's hit it straight at Jason Steele after a brilliant setup from Dan Byrne involving Willock, and there was Almiron. Got to score. Big save from the keeper.
Huge save from the keeper, but as you say, he's got to score. Hits it straight at him, either side of it, and that's game, set, match.
Estupiñán takes it inside away from Willock. Wilson gets out to him, slows him down. Mitoma into Gilmore. Wilson applauded by the fans near us for his tracking back, and now they've played it through. It's Undav into the area. Dennis Undav scores! He's brought Brighton back into the game, and the man who put through his own net in the first half and had a nightmare 45 has gone up to centre forward, and having been played through has beaten Nick Pope, and it's Newcastle United 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 1. He might be offside though.
They'll have a look at it, won't they? See where the lines are drawn.
It's tight and carried on into the box. It's Byrne the defender because Botman has stepped out of the back line. Cher is definitely not playing him onside. It's about Byrne on the far side. They need to get the lines drawn on the pitch. Jared Gillett, and they've put one on, and I think he could be onside. Referees pick the ball up. We are waiting. Dennis Undav for Brighton. Goal stands. He's onside. No clean sheet again for Newcastle, and they now have the second best defensive record in the league behind Manchester City. And I didn't see that goal coming, Ando, but Brighton have halved the deficit. Straight on the attack, immediately from the kickoff. Willock to Almiron, picks out Wilson, wide! Might have been a difficult chance behind him, possibly off balance or even mid-air, Callum Wilson, but couldn't get the effort on target.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. Might have been offside anyway, Almiron, but it wasn't easy.
That's why they needed the second goal. Brighton rolling it out in the box, short from the goal kick, and then across one side of the penalty area and over to the other in front of goal, and it's worked for them. They haven't changed their approach, but it's bringing them more joy in this second half, and they're looking for an equaliser now through Mitoma into the area, cleared by Cher, away from Undav. Julio Enciso might be coming on, the Paraguayan. He's just come back from warming up. He's come back to put a bib on as Newcastle send out Elliot Anderson and Anthony Gordon. Trippier intercepts, Willock to Almiron, Bruno moves it, Joelinton has got space and an air of expectation as Newcastle go into the final third. Isak, but too much on the ball, and Steele gets there before Wilson.
Yeah, all of a sudden, a little bit of a different atmosphere, a little bit of a nervy atmosphere inside St James's. They've been a little bit better this second half, Brighton. All of a sudden, they're playing through the press.
Steele over the top of the Newcastle players who'd gone up high and tried to squeeze, gets it out to the left. That'll be a United throw out off Mitoma in front of halfway. Trippier to Willock, ball back on the floor, and then Trippier to Cher. He's played more football for Newcastle this season than in any of his previous campaigns at the club. Burn. Some boos from the few hundred Brighton fans. A long way from the action in level 7. It's back with Nick Pope. So to Isak on the left wing. He's knocked it on and will chase, but Dunk gets across, touches it back to goalkeeper Steele, and Isak threw himself at it, and Caicedo, it rather hit him, but he is able to release it to Dunk just in time as Newcastle closed down, and now a foul given by Robert Jones, the referee. It's against Newcastle. Might have been Wilson.
Attendance here at St James's Park is 52,122.
Oh, the big guns are arriving.
They are going to bring on Julio Enciso along with 18-year-old Evan Ferguson, who's got 8 goals in a very impressive breakthrough campaign, and Alexis McAllister. 2-1 Newcastle. Brighton go long from Steele. We've just got to watch Botman with a header out to the near side. Almiron nodding it down to Trippier. They're still in the lead, they're still in control, and they're still threatening and looking for a third. Dunk, his touch takes him backwards towards the goal line, into the box to Steele, and then move quickly to Gilmore. 56th minute on BBC Radio Newcastle. Almiron stretching, intercepts. That's a throw. Here are the changes. Coming off is Billy Gilmore with Alexis McAllister on in his place. Reportedly a big target for Liverpool, McAllister, the World Cup winner. Danny Welbeck replaced by Julio Enciso, and Facundo Buonanotte off, and Evan Ferguson on.
Another substitution for Brighton.
Alan Saint-Maximin joins the Newcastle players warming up along the touchline. Almiron with a win, a challenge, and Joelinton touching it on and being brought down by Pascal Gross, right side of central midfield. Yellow card shown for Gross. Sharp midfield play from Joelinton. Up go the big lads from the back. Trippier He's having a look towards the bench, and Jason Tyndall. It's like he's passed on a message. And Enciso needs to get back because he's too close to the ball. Referee telling him, I don't know what he's complaining about.
He's been watching Colin Wilson.
Trippier moved the ball. Now he walks back from it and prepares to deliver it. It's 30 to 35 yards out. Steele gets back on his line. They look for Byrne, who heads it inside, straight against Caicedo, thumps it clear. Trippier, lovely first touch. Then down the line for Almiron, who has to spin and run after it. And Estepinian is there, and Almiron adjusts to have fouled him. The home fans who are closest to that are furious and are on their feet.
You can see from here it was a free kick. Just swings him round.
Dunk forwards, and Cher in a midfield position intercepts Wilson in the box on his chest. Two defenders there. He got outnumbered, and there's two balls on the pitch. And Estepinian there. It's gone out off Almiron. Newcastle stop Brighton breaking away down the left, but it'll be a throw, and the second ball didn't interfere, thankfully. I think that one was accidental. Purvis Estepinian for Brighton told not to go any further up the line. Van Hecke to Undav. Now he's dropped back in, hasn't he, with Ferguson up top, although he's not occupying a centre half at the moment. It's standing off Bruno Ferguson. This is Undav, takes a touch, rolls it back to Dunk. And Undav again onto Estepinian. Bit of space, back through for Undav, just outside the area. Look for Mitoma, might have been better off taking the shot on. Newcastle block, Cher to Willock, who wants to run away. He's pulled his hamstring, Joe Willock. He's pulled his hamstring, and Alexis McAllister very sportingly turns and puts the ball out of play. And they need a substitute, and they have called for Elliot Anderson. Willock straight away signalled to the bench. He wasn't appealing for a foul, he was saying it was his hamstring.
Yeah, fair dues to McAllister, because they could have broke.
So this will mean, John Anderson, that Elliot Anderson will probably go into a midfield three, which is a position that Eddie Howe feels he can play, but he is an attacker, a wide man, really, a winger.
Yeah, he's looked impressive in the cameos that he's come on in. He looks like a boy who's filled out, he's worked on his upper body, looks strong.
A 19th appearance from the bench for Elliot Anderson. He'll get a good half an hour. And Newcastle are 2-1 up. Willock has to be helped up to his feet and helped off the pitch by Dr. Paul Patterson and Sean Beach, the physio, and he looks in a bad way. Gets a hug from Kieran Trippier. He's played such a big part in the season. He's in a lot of discomfort.
Well, that's his season over, you would think.
And Joe Linton's gone back over to the left, and Anderson playing to the right of Bruno. Newcastle, having returned the ball to Brighton, have put it out for a goal kick. Were they to score from this, there would be a big row. But it's away from Steele anyway. Estepinian brings it down. Anderson closes down. This is McAllister, first proper involvement in terms of play, and a through ball. It's picked up by Nick Pope. So half an hour to go. What's your feeling on the direction of the match, John Anderson?
The direction of the game's changed. I mean, we were totally in control for 45 minutes. There's no doubt about that.
Header on by Isak. Joe Linton went for it with his head, has gone down, saying he's hurt.
The two of them went for the ball.
And the Brighton player
can't be given a free kick for that. Where's the free kick in that?
Joe Linton's still down. The referee says it's
a throw into Brighton.
Throw, and that's all it is.
Brighton have come out. They've got more of a foothold in the game in this second half. They've got the goal. They've got something to fight for. But I still think that we carry a bigger threat.
Who's the Scouser in the blue, they're singing, the referee. Merseyside's Robert Jones. Back to Steele. And that's gone out off the outside of his right boot and out for a Newcastle throw, 30 yards from Brighton's goal, far left side. Byrne straight onto the head of a Brighton player. Bruno challenging for it. Anderson then back to Botman to share the furthest outfield player back, and it's not necessarily the worst ball, but there was no one close to it. It was in between Van Hecke and Caicedo, centre half and full back. Big throw from Steele to Estepinian. Anderson tracking him, makes a block, stops the cross getting through. Trippier then to Bruno, and out off Bruno. Anderson's taken a knock, he's limping, gets back into position, and the away team, who've won 8 times on their travels this season, same number of away wins as Newcastle. In possession, Ferguson header on, Undav into the box, Botman chests down and stabs away. McAllister's lost it to Wilson near the centre circle. Brilliant play by Callum Wilson, and then he's brought down and McAllister is yellow carded.
Good battle that.
Newcastle push up and Brighton drop a bit deeper. Eddie Howe instructing Miguel Almiron to take up a different position. He tucks in a bit. Trippier a few yards back from the centre spot. 2-1 they lead. It's 2-0 at half-time. Brighton come back into it with a goal in the second half. Into the box. Byrne having his shirt pulled. It's clear as day. Referee does nothing. Newcastle, despite the appeals, still on the attack. Almiron, left-footed cross from the right. Good header, pushed away by Steele. Still not away. Share off the line and blocked. Byrne on the follow-up, out to the left corner with Joelinton. 2 Brighton players with him. It's a good battle for the ball. Joelinton comes away with it. Gets into the penalty area and then commits a foul on Caicedo and reacts angrily. And now Newcastle go back to the referee. Byrne was, you could see the stretch of his black and white shirt from the pull from the defender. That's what they were arguing about. Joelinton's gone down holding his head now, and the referee stopped the game. But they had a few chances, and in that move, Brighton struggling to clear.
Good save, Steele, wasn't it, from the header?
Not liking what they're seeing from Robert Jones. We're playing again, and not interested in that pull on Byrne from the free kick. Van Hecke, 10 yards in front of the box. Long ball forwards, away from Byrne and left side of the box. Nick Pope comes over to clear and put it out into the east stand. It's a Brighton throw. And there's 2 balls again. It was the crowd that put that one on. Into the area towards Ferguson, seen behind by Sven Botman. Has got Share to his right and Botman to the left, but outside the area. They jog forwards now. 67th minute, 2-1 up. Isak is the target on the left side. It's up off Caicedo and out off Caicedo. And Isak has taken a bang to the back of the head or the neck. Picks himself up. Byrne takes the throw. Botman lets it run and goes back to goalkeeper Pope. Away it goes. Joelinton beaten to the ball by Van Hecke. Byrne on, Botman away, Brighton forward, Cher is there on his thigh and chipped into an area for Wilson, but Van Hecke with a header down to Dunk. McAllister back to Dunk, still in front of the Brighton box. Gross to Van Hecke, moving the ball, short passes, now into the Newcastle half. Caicedo, he's got room on that far side. Byrne comes over, intercepts, challenges Enciso, down the line to Isak, back to the big man, and away it goes, and Wilson wants this and gets it, brings it down, but can't get around Dunk.
Good defending, just stood his ground, didn't he? Great take by Wilson originally.
Van Hecke was covering, but Wilson would have had the chance to run through on goal if he'd got around Lewis Dunk. Still leading 2-1. An Undav own goal and a Dan Byrne header in the first half. Undav then scored for Brighton early in the second. We're almost at the 70-minute mark. Moises Caicedo crossing from the right, Enciso! A downward header that goes across goal and wide.
That was a chance.
Change. Pascal Gross is coming off, and I think they're going to move Moises Caicedo into midfield. Deluga Afaya, the nephew of Martin Afaya, the former rugby league and union player.
Oh dear, if he's as quick as him.
He's gone to right back, and Caicedo's gone into central midfield with McAllister. Two players that Roberto De Zerbi said, McAllister and Caicedo, may not be at Brighton next season because of the interest in them from other clubs. They're both very, very good, and it's part of their attempt to find an equaliser, the change. And Afaya, it's only a second Premier League appearance, both from the bench. He's 20 years old. Throw for Newcastle, up to Wilson, can't hold it. McAllister chased by Bruno and Wilson, spun away and has the opportunity to pick out a pass, but it's too straight, and Pope is there, comes into the 6-yard box, picks it up. Throws it out underarm, Trippier running onto it, such a good engine, and that ball, Anderson almost took it.
Just too much pace on it, it was a difficult one to take.
A nice forward run from midfield by Elliot Anderson, who got the final 5 minutes plus added on time at Leeds, and a bit longer today. But if you've missed some of the match, Joe Willock has gone off with a hamstring injury, pulled up and replaced immediately. Caicedo, that's really tidy play to Ferguson, but on halfway Brighton, not able to get into the Newcastle half yet. Back to Dunk, more than 400 games for his hometown club. McAllister onto the head of Byrne, cushioned header down to Bruno, to Isak, flicked it through his legs and tried to turn. Brighton have it back, then they lose it. That's a foul by Caicedo on Bruno. Referee helps Brazilian to his feet, and the Ecuadorian is still on the floor and rolling around.
I'm not too sure that that's a foul. I think Bruno's fouled him.
Really? You've just seen a replay?
Yeah, he's just...
Eddie Howe, meanwhile, has called Elliot Anderson across, got his arm round him, and he runs back into midfield.
Thanks, ref.
He's going to say something to Callum Wilson. Bruno walks away from the ball. They lead 2-1 in the 72nd minute. Botman to Cher. Forwards to Trippier, under pressure. He's let it run through his legs on the turn and got caught by Kaoru Mitoma. Whistle has gone. Only one Premier League win in 11 previous meetings with Brighton since promotion, and that was last season in March. They won by 2-1 that day. And it's the same scoreline in Newcastle's favour right now. Shared diagonal ball, looking for Joe Linton, edge of the box. Van Hecke with the clearance. Botman makes the challenge on Ferguson, and that's a foul. And no doubt about it. Or have they brought it back for an earlier one?
No.
Yeah, they have, haven't they? It's Joe Linton. Van Hecke gets it back. Fire down the line. And Ciso skips around Byrne. In he comes. Bruno is on a yellow card, can't make the challenge. And across to Mitoma, who stumbled and is stretching. And ooh, did that go out? Just kept it in the opinion of the assistant referee. Brighton on the attack. McAllister 30 yards from goal. Caicedo takes a touch, gets closed down and pushes it out to Afaya, the substitute. Into Caicedo. Newcastle, everybody bar Wilson behind the ball. Now they're all behind the ball. It's gone back to halfway. They've forced Brighton a long way from the goal. Mitoma's header from a diagonal ball, and Almiron nods it back to Pope.
Good header. Joe Linton gone down again, taking his boot off.
Jason Tyndall talking to the assistant referee, and they've called for the physio. Lost one central midfielder to injury. Longstaff is still out. They can't afford to lose two tonight. Willock sitting on the bench after picking up that hamstring problem. Chance for players to come over and pick up a water bottle and talk to the coaching staff as Newcastle take a look at Joe Linton. I'm not quite sure which part of the foot it is. He's receiving treatment. Wilson, Almiron and Anderson are with Eddie Howe. They lead 2-1, BBC Radio Newcastle. What do you think, Ando?
I still think we carry more of a threat. It's been more of an even contest second half, there's no doubt about it. Brighton have shown an awful lot more. They've played through the press better.
Joe Linton's on his feet, put his boot back on. We'll be taking calls after the match. 0800 234 6565. 0800 234 6565. We'll be with you until 10 tonight on BBC Radio Newcastle. So you can give us a ring now and we'll get back to you after the match. Take your details and call you back. Or on WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Put BBC at the start. Going to restart the match through Nick Pope, sending it long. Joe Linton is allowed back on. Wilson trying to take the ball down. Afaya's header. And Anderson rises to get Isak in the game. Brighton win it back on the touchline, then play it forwards. Newcastle, a couple of challenges, but they can't get hold of the ball. Caicedo to Van Hecke, edge of his penalty area.
Tell you what, for somebody who's...
Estupinian's made a run through the middle. No one tracked him. There's nobody there. But they didn't play the ball. McAllister to Dunk. Takes a touch, moves it inside to the goalkeeper on the 6-yard line. Steele rolling it forwards. Look at Estupinian, the left back. He's playing centre forward. It's pretty fluid from Brighton. Formation. Estupinian's now gone back to left back. There's a big hole at centre forward. They've dropped deep Undav and Ferguson. They play the ball short, and then it's back to Dunk along the 18-yard line to Van Hecke. 2-1 Newcastle lead. Ferguson, who dropped off. Dan Burn wins it, pushes it away, doesn't get a free kick. Felt that he was fouled in that piece of play. Referee Robert Jones disagrees. Caicedo to Van Hecke and back to the goalkeeper. You were about to say something a moment ago.
Yeah, the centre-back for Brighton, the Dutch boy, Van Hecke, for his second Premier League start. He looks a confident boy, doesn't he?
It's scooped forwards. Byrne slides in, makes the challenge, plays it against a red shirt, and Trippier heads back to Pope. He was a player Sunderland was supposed to be interested in signing for the Championship season.
Yeah, he's played well for them.
Maybe they could do that again for next year, but he might have some other suitors. He might get in the Brighton team in the Premier League. After a tough start to the game, he's really grown into it, young Paul Van Hecke. Free kick for Bruno in midfield. Referee tells Newcastle to get on with it. No further changes planned, it seems, by Eddie Howe. Saint-Maximin, Targett and Gordon warming up. 2-1 the score, 12 to play, plus added on time. Lots of space for Byrne. Look at that, unmarked, down the left. There they go. Cher out to the big man. Nice first touch into Isak on his chest. Difficult one to bring down. Byrne takes it on into the area. And good challenge by Brighton. Ferguson then wins the header, and it's a 3-on-3 here. They've got more players back now. Defensive reinforcements. Looking for Matoma, Brighton. Cleared by Newcastle, fortunately. But on by Caicedo to Estepinian. Dangerous cross. Bruno's header clear. As far as McAllister. And then Ciso straight to Anderson. Look for Wilson. Challenge comes in. Took the ball. Almiron's got it. He goes down. Fouled by Matoma. Intelligent free kick won by Almiron.
Getting nervy, isn't it?
A little bit. You weren't nervous.
No,
at the start.
No.
I was, and now I'm really calm, and you've gone the other way.
No, I still think we carry more of a threat.
Just discussions over who takes the free kick.
Yeah, you take it. No,
after you.
No, we'll leave it for home. Take your time.
Was pointing to his watch and looking at the Newcastle bench. He tried to get it to Wilson, but McAllister heads away. Too high for Undav. Cher on his chest. Lifted forwards. Wilson backing into Dunk, who's done very well. That's great defending.
Great, isn't he?
Excellent skill.
Good player.
Bring the ball down and turn and then get it into the box to the keeper, who's run out of the area. Totally uncontested. Through the middle looking for Mitoma. Down Byrne chests it. And Anderson takes it on the spin. Oh, brought down by Van Hecke, but play on. They could be in. Bruno onto Isak. Into the box. Isak. Now it's Anderson. And it's Bruno over the top. Yellow card for Jan-Paul Van Hecke. And Anderson's gone back down. He got himself up again after the challenge came in to join in with the attack, and it was a good Newcastle break. But Bruno, who hasn't scored since January, was off target with the shot, but possibly always on the stretch.
Yeah, he was just stretching, wasn't he? Isak sets it up. Just not in control of it. As you say, always stretching, always rising over the top.
Brighton, the usual short passes back to the goalkeeper next to the post. Van Hecke. As Alan Saint-Maximin comes back to the bench. Joelinton tries to win it from Caicedo in midfield, and it's Mitoma now receiving it from Dunk behind the halfway line. McAllister spreads it to the right to Fire, who is a centre-half, really. Jaluga Fire. Brighton have it through Julio Enciso, and a foul by Elliot Anderson, I think. Might have been Bruno, they were both there. And it is 30 yards plus right of centre. 30 yards plus from the goal. BBC Radio Newcastle. 0800 234 6565, the number to ring. A 2-1 lead. Brighton move it along the floor to the right. Good challenge by Isak. Excellent. And then the ball down the line to Almiron. He gets fouled and the whistle goes. And one Paraguayan on another there. Enciso on his international teammate. He did so well there, Almiron. As did Isak. Oh, now Enciso's pushed Almiron, and he might be about to get yellow carded. The referee has led him away. It's not like Almiron to get involved in any kind of scrapping, but he's going after Enciso, and he's having to be held back by his teammates and led away by Joelinton. He did not like that. He must have said something to him, because this is uncharacteristic from Almiron. Fabian Schär, no stranger to some aggro. He's got his arm around him. Must have been more than the foul. There's no further punishment for Enciso. Caught him in the face accidentally after the whistle had gone. That must have been what it was. It's wasted a bit of time. 7 minutes to go. Another Brighton change. Cameron Perpion is going to come on, a 20-year-old Australian midfielder. Almiron, edge of the Brighton box, could have been fouled. Back to goal, still has it, knocks it around Mitoma. Estupinian gets in between man and ball, can't get away anywhere, clears it. Undav makes the challenge on Trippier and floats it to the far side. Byrne cushion header down. Isak looking for a turn ball to Byrne, couldn't find him, and a fire is on the charge. Moves it inside to Caicedo, switches it to Estupinian. Almiron back to him. Oh, judged to have committed a foul, and the Newcastle supporters next to us are going mad. Jason Tyndall is furious, but the referee is not going to change his decision.
Substitution for Brighton, coming off number 21.
Dennis Undav, scorer of an own goal, and then the Brighton goal in the second half is replaced, and Cameron Perpion, only a second senior appearance and a first in the Premier League, midfielder wearing 51. Golden hair, hairband on, to the middle, free kick on the left, 35 yards out. McAllister runs over it, Estupinian swings it in, and Schär heads away. Nodded back in by Brighton. Joelinton volleys clear. Fire heads it back to Caicedo, with Wilson closing down. Still 2-1 Newcastle. And Perpion's first touch, almost lost the ball to Bruno. Found Van Hecke, back to the goalkeeper from halfway, but Steele is out of his penalty box and rolls it to Van Hecke. Caicedo back to the Dutch defender. Into midfield, where Ferguson has come deep. He's a big lad, isn't he, Evan Ferguson?
18,
6'2".
Big boy for 18.
Plenty of muscle. Helped on by Brighton, but straight to Byrne. This is Isak, left side, looking to run and take on a fire, and beats him, but runs the ball out of play. And they think that should be their throw, Newcastle, or the fans do, but it's gone the way of Brighton. With Estupinian on the left, clipping it away from Trippier. Mitoma on his chest. Trippier pushes it clear, straight back to Estupinian. 35 yards from goal. Caicedo got it caught under his feet, but still able to play the ball to Van Hecke just before Wilson got there. On the right in front of halfway, a fire back to Van Hecke. 4 minutes of normal time, pretty much, is all that remains, and then the additional period. Perpion back to a fire, using the youth from their bench, Brighton, with a long injury list as they try to get an equaliser. McAllister, one of the big boys that they brought on, metaphorically. This is Mitoma, nice link up, Estupinian in the area, Trippier and Almiron challenge, corner. Everybody comes back to defend. Only a win definitely keeps them third ahead of Monday against Leicester, and if they win, that's when they can do it with another win. Got to see this out, Newcastle. 2-1 up. Estepinian's out swinging corner, headed back out to Estepinian, who rolls it to McAllister. Brighton have a player down in the box, and the shot comes in from Caicedo. It's Van Hecke who's still down, and Newcastle are saying put the ball out, but they don't want to. He has eventually got up. Might be cramp. Fire to the far side, and Ciso. Isak holds him up. Joelinton gets across there, and Ciso gets away from Isak, and his cross is palmed down by Pope at the near post, and then gathered by the keeper as Sven Botman swings his arms around the Leazer's end and asks for more noise.
Never mind swinging your arms, just defend properly.
Pope kicks from the floor. Fire, free header. Botman on his chest, down to Byrne. Long ball into the Brighton half. Van Hecke nodding it towards Dunk. Wilson giving chase. No further activity on the Newcastle bench. Eddie Howe sticking with the players out there. Van Hecke coming up to halfway. Ferguson lays it off, watched by Bruno. A fire back to Van Hecke, right of centre. Roberto De Zerbi waving his players forwards. Back it goes to Afayem, back into the Brighton half. Van Hecke, a 2-1 Newcastle lead. It would be enough, but there's time for Brighton, who are dominating possession now, to get back into it. Almiron makes the challenge on Estepinian. It's run out to the corner. Trippier sends Mitoma over with a shoulder barge, and Almiron away, knocking it around. Caicedo, lovely play. Wilson played through, one-on-one with Steele. Callum Wilson to seal it. Never in doubt. Wilson one-on-one scores the goal at the Gallagher end that will take Newcastle to within 3 points of the Champions League. Number 18 of a brilliant season, and 11 in 10 appearances, played through by Almiron, slotted it past Steele, right-footed. Newcastle United 3, Brighton and Hove Albion 1.
Quality finish. I mean, they did well in the corner. Trippier does great. Then Almiron just knocks the ball. It's onside for me. Onside, yeah. Once he gets through, there's only one outcome.
Went down the near side of the goal, with Steele in the middle. And you always believed in Wilson. What a hot streak he is on, and that's surely the end of the Brighton possible comeback, as 8 minutes are added, maybe not. At a minimum, Roberto De Zerbi throwing his arms around as Newcastle. Isak through for Wilson again, away from Dunk. Callum Wilson sends the defender to the floor, plays it back for Bruno, and it's 4-1, and Bruno makes it safe, and he has his first goal in 19 Newcastle appearances, and that is the 3 points, and they just need one more win. And Newcastle, no, they are almost there. Wilson could have had another, but he laid it on a plate for Bruno, who was never gonna miss. And it's Newcastle United 4, Brighton and Hove Albion 1.
Well, I mean, it was a game that was on a knife edge up to 2 minutes ago, and now all of a sudden it looks like it's all one-way traffic. I mean, the second half has been so finely balanced. Brighton were in it, but great play by Wilson again, big and strong, and he's just laid it on a plate. He's never going to miss, is he?
His first goals at home, or first goal at home since October, when he got 2 against Brentford. Wilson did so well, didn't he?
Wilson did brilliant. Big and strong. Holds Dunk off and then has the composure to just roll it in, put it on a plate, 6 yards out, never going to miss.
Eddie Howe put his arm around Simon Weatherston, one of the coaches. Big smile. Doesn't normally show a lot of emotion, Eddie Howe, but he really felt that one. And lovely celebrations in the corner between all the players. Bruno pointing to the badge on his shirt. And the scarves are out, so are the black and white flags. 52,000 joyous Geordies as Newcastle move closer to the big prize of Champions League football. 2 changes. Alexander Isak replaced by Anthony Gordon. Alan Saint-Maximin is going to get a run out in added on time as well. He'll come on for Miguel Almiron.
Put a shift in again tonight, Almiron. Did great for the 3rd goal.
Well, they don't have this 3-goal cushion if Almiron doesn't do that great work down the right to get Wilson in for the 3rd goal.
No, definitely not.
So, a couple of changes late on. Joe Linton's won it. Wilson's got away. He's 1-on-1 again. Callum Wilson. Oh, straight into the midriff of Jason Steele, who got down low and
put your
came
house
out on top
you...
this time.
Never in doubt.
Matt Targett and Javier Manquillo are going to be next. Paul Dummett, who's on the front of the programme for tonight's match, ran out of time when they tried to get him on against Southampton, and he's going to have to wait for another rare appearance. Dummett, who is among the unused subs tonight. Bruno scooping it up away from a Brighton player. Kieran Trippier's down though, and that's worrying. It's hamstring, Trippier. So they're going to get Manquillo on for Trippier, and Joe Linton replaced by Targett. Another physical performance from Joe Linton. It'll be Anderson and Bruno in midfield. There won't be. It'll be Schär in midfield, Ando. Unless they just go with 5.
Why would they put Schär in the
Well, I don't know. I'm just trying to work out how they're going to play it. Target's gone. Has Targett gone into midfield?
Won't change back 4.
This looks like Targett's gone into midfield. To the left of Bruno, Anderson to the right. But worrying about Trippier anyway. 4-1. And any pressure, any tension, any anxiety has gone with the 2 late goals. Targett with a nice header. Gordon chesting it on. Away by Dunk. Bruno lifting it up into the box, but
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Jason Tindall talking to 4th official Thomas Bramall. Trying to see how long's left. 8 additional minutes. Newcastle, 2 late goals to make it 4-1. Estepinian on. And Manquillo back to Pope. Might be in line for a first Premier League start of the season, Javier Manquillo, if Kieran Trippier does have an injury. Up to McAllister, won by Schär. Cleared by Schär, out off McAllister. Brighton still in the European race. They'll have a game in hand on most of the other teams, but they won't be able to finish above Newcastle now, and the Champions League might be too much for them. But they could become the first club to make their debut in Europe since Hull in 2014. say they've got a good chance. Still got to play Southampton at home, that's next. Then Man City and Aston Villa. They go down the right wing, the visitors. Burn, good defending, keeping it in, playing it to target. Sam Maximo wants it. Receives it from target, takes it back on the left. Inside it comes, this is Bruno, back through for Sam Maximo to get onto. Wilson in the middle, Gordon getting up there, Anderson wants it too. Sam Maximo around a fire, sits him down, back to Bruno, heavy first touch. And the chance goes, and then Bruno goes down. Stretching in the Brighton boxes, and Enciso goes on a run. Slowed down by Manquillo. Gordon is back there with him. Ferguson, Enciso gets the shot away, but pulls it wide. Bruno might have cramp. Eddie Howe's telling him to stay down. Can you believe that?
No.
Eddie Howe.
I don't believe
Bruno
that.
Just motion downwards with his hand.
I can't believe you're saying that.
I'm very surprised at Eddie Howe for doing that.
Yeah.
It's not like him.
No.
He's got up anyway, Bruno. It's a goal kick.
He'll be getting told off for that.
They lead 4-1 on BBC Radio Newcastle. We're here till 10, and then Stephen Petty will be along as usual. 0800 234 6565. Give us a ring, and we'll take some calls alongside Simon Pride. Nick Pope's goal kick. One more win. That's all they need, and they can do it on Monday against Leicester. And then Newcastle United will be a Champions League team once again. 4-1 victory against Brighton with 2 late goals sealing it. Wilson and then Bruno, after a pretty uncomfortable second half at times, with Brighton having a lot of the ball and a 2-0 lead at the break before the visitors got back into it. But to some it looked like the toughest match in this run of 3 at the end of the season. They've got 3 points, and now up to Liverpool and Manchester United to respond and keep the pressure on ahead of Leicester at home on Monday. But you've got to say, John Anderson, now they are red-hot favourites to do it.
Oh, without a doubt. You know, look, tonight was always going to be a big game. At half-time, it looked all one-way traffic. I mean, Brighton couldn't get out of their own half in the first half. That goal right on the stroke of half-time was huge. You know, it was massive because Brighton came out. They were better second half. They got a goal. All of a sudden, it became a little bit nervy. But those 2 quick goals, really, it sewed everything up. It wasn't the classic we thought it was going to be, but it was an intriguing game because we possibly should have been out of sight at half-time. And saying that, for all the play that we had in that first half, we never really forced Steele into too many saves. Brighton played some kamikaze football in that first half. They tried to play out all the time. They tried to play through the press. They got away with it at times. Second half, Brighton were better, as I say. They got the goal, got them back into it, but those 2 quick-fire goals really sealed it for us. And as you say, just one more win. Leicester here on Monday night, and the way that Leicester are going wouldn't hold any fears.
Yeah, Leicester second from bottom. They will need a win to try to stay in with a chance of staying up. Miguel Almiron and Julio Enciso are having a conversation now, and I think they're friends again, the Paraguayans. Newcastle 69 points from 36 matches. 69 took them to 3rd 20 years ago when they last got into the Champions League. One more win will take them out of sight. Liverpool would not be able to catch them. 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp. Put BBC at the start of your message. Simon Pride here in a second alongside John Anderson until 10 o'clock to discuss with you a victory over Brighton that takes Newcastle to within 1 more win of a return to the European footballing elite and next season's Champions League. It's finished at St James's Park. Newcastle United 4, Brighton and